Hello, this is Nicki in Niagara coming to you from Niagara Falls, Canada. And today I'm here with a color and chat. I haven't been with you like this for a while, but I am participating. I am a co-host in the Belba Family color along this month. The hashtag is belbainmarch, and I am co-hosting along with Shelly from The Stitching Colorist and Lisa from Lisa's Coloring Corner, and both of their links will be down below in the description. So make sure to open that up, because there's that. There's also a link that will take you straight to a listing of all of Belba Family's books, and I've done that for all three of the major Amazons, US, UK, and Canada. So today I am going to color with you in the money book. Now, the money book comes in a color by number version, which of course I have, and a plain coloring book. So be careful with which one you buy, making sure you get the one that you want. Now, the color by number version has had its cover changed to more appropriately show what this book is about, because it is about all sorts of symbols related to money, like the money tree, the piggy bank, it just has pictures of wealth, and I can't remember what's in here. It's from all over the world, so there are ones that we haven't, that I don't recognize, so it's new to me to learn these symbols. Now, I have a full flip through of this book on my channel, so you can just go to my playlist of flips and pick this and have a look at all the pages. In the meantime, I've picked one which will be appropriate for a color along, and we are going to be coloring the Laughing Buddha. The Laughing Buddha represents health and wealth. So we will get started. If I just make sure I have everything I need here with me, I'm missing something. Oh, I always am. I got it. I get everything all ready and set up on the table. I even have my coffee, and for when I'm finished that, I have some pop. I'm all set to go. And of course, I forget something. So there's the color palette down here. Now, not all of these colors will be used in the picture. So and the color palette is the same on every page, plus it has a representation on the back in colors if you need to take a look at what type of shade you're looking for. Oh, here on the back it shows some things. So apparently goldfish represent money or richness in some culture. Now, this is an Asian one because it's got lotuses on the back wall, and it's a container full of riches, I guess in a way a money pot. And this is the Chinese lucky cat, and he represents, what does it say down there? Love, happiness, and money. This one is health and wealth, the Laughing Buddha. So when I have the complete color palette down at the side, I don't start with number 1 and go in order of the numbers. I start in the top right-hand corner, sorry, the top left-hand corner, because I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed, if I was left-handed, I would start in the top right-hand corner. And then I just work my way across the picture until it's finished. So, I need my glasses. Oh, they're right here too, so it'll only take a second to get them. Oh. So it's about 8:15 in the morning here, and probably why I am a little bit discombobulated, because this time in the morning I'm usually doing nothing but watching YouTube and drinking my coffee. So I've had 1 cup, so I am functional. So let's get on with this. We've got some stripes going around the whole thing here. So I'm going to start in the middle with number 10. Go down here. 10 is scarlet. And I have all my colors that I would use. I've got all 22 colors here. So I'm going to start with scarlet. Where's the 2 reds? Okay, so this one is scarlet. And we're doing the number 10s. That color. And I forgot to put a blotter page in. Even though I'm only doing water-based markers here, I still put a blotter page down. I put a blotter down for pretty much everything that I color. It just helps you to remember. If you always do it, you won't forget when it's crucial that you have it there. So I'm going to be coloring the 10s here. Now these don't usually bleed. I'm using the Stettler 320, which is also known as the Stettler dual end fiber tip marker. That was pretty messy. I hope I can color neatly today, or this morning. Also woke up with some anxiety, so I've taken some lorazepam, and so that might make me a little sluggish. Now, I was watching a British mystery show last night, cop show, and one of the aspects of how these people had, well, they found out at the end that they'd been drugged, and they went to sleep, and they didn't remember anything when they woke up. It wasn't until like the next day that their memories started to come back. So, you know, I was thinking, oh, it's GBH, right? But it wasn't. It was lorazepam. And I just don't, and then they went to Sweden. Is it Sweden? Yeah, they went to Sweden. Amsterdam. Oh, that's Holland. Oh boy. Okay, so they went to Amsterdam, and they were talking about how lorazepam was pretty popular at the moment as a recreational drug. And it's just not that strong, folks. I mean, how can you get a high off of something that is a downer? You know? I mean, sometimes I don't have a huge dose of it, but I can take more than 1 pill if the anxiety is, you know, depending on how high the anxiety is. So, and I mean, I don't know how high a dose these people would have had to make them, to knock them unconscious and make them forget, like completely erase their memory. I don't know. To me, it's just, I mean, it's just, you know, it's not, it doesn't work like that for me at all. The worst that would happen to me if I took like a more than I should would be that I would fall asleep. But it doesn't even make me tired because, well, my body's missing whatever chemicals this is giving me so that it calms me down from being on highly intense anxiety. But anyways, yeah, speaking of that, for the last, I don't know how long, 7 or 8 months, I have been on a British mystery thriller TV show kick. And I signed up for Acorn TV, but I watched everything that was on there. And that's a lot of time I put in, but I binge watch. And then so they don't put new stuff up there often enough to keep up with my watching. So I canceled that and I signed up for BritBox. Now, BritBox has a ton of stuff on it that I haven't seen. So I will stay with BritBox until I've watched everything. They also don't add new stuff at a rate that would keep up with me because I only watch the mystery-centered shows. So anyways, in the meantime, I have been watching, and I have 1 episode left. Sorry, no, I have 2 episodes left. I saved those for me to watch together so I could see the end of the show. So it was 11 seasons, or as they do call in the UK, series. Consisted of 11 series. I've been watching DL and Pasco, and I had never even heard of it before, and it is based on a series of books too. Some of the episodes are taken straight from a book, and some of them are just based upon, or the characters are based, and the writers have written their own show. This is a long one. My wobbly hand is going to show up. So yeah, I can't remember what I watched before that, but because I have short-term memory. It's one of my issues. And what was I saying? Oh God. How appropriate. I talk about having a bad memory and then I can't. Then I'm like, what was I talking about? Yeah, so when I'm finished DL and Pasco, which I've really enjoyed, I will probably move on to something that just has, 3 or less, 3 to 1 seasons, and watch a few of those kinds of shows before I dig in with another big series. I may go back to watching what is it called? Oh, it must be quite popular because I keep seeing commercials for it on Instagram or Facebook. Cold Murder? Is that what it's called? They're in the coroner's office and Nicki is the main doctor. I think that's, no, what did I say it was called? Cold Murder? No. Well, if you're British, you know which one I mean. So anyways, I stopped watching that at season 10. At season 18. I binge watched up from 1 to 18. And now that show is still running, and I believe they're on the 22nd season right now. Or the 21st. So, I don't usually stop watching a show like that, but I was just getting so bored with it. I honestly think that the show was best in its early days when it had the original 3 characters. And I think that was up to season 11. So, I mean, it's a long period. One could watch up to that point and stop and have had an excellent, excellent run of TV. It was when the other lady was the head of the department, and then Nicki came in, and she was like a junior person, and then the two guys were still the same. Now this happens from 12 and up. And so eventually it gets to the point where there's none of the original cast members left, except for Nicki, but she only started in season 11 or 12. So she's kind of half of an original character, but not really. I liked it best then. But anyways, I was getting bored of it. I do not like any of the characters except sort of Nicki, but I preferred her better as a junior person in the coroner's office. I don't like her being the one in charge, and I don't know how she got the degrees or whatever to become the boss, just because she's there the longest. Everybody else who was a leader was a professor first. But anyways, that's enough of that. But I may go back to it because I have to watch it. And some of the mysteries are good. You know, I've enjoyed shows where I hated every single character, but I enjoyed the story. So this appears to be the last number 10 on here. And my coloring is a bit sloppy. So it's kind of hard to do color by numbers as a color in chat because you do have to concentrate on what number you're doing and what color it is. So if you take your mind off of that, it's quite easy to color the wrong shape, the wrong color section, whatever you want to call these little parts. I guess I could tell you a few things. Oh, well, let's just get my health out of the way because I always give you guys an update on that. So I've been doing pretty good. I'm taking my shots every 2 weeks now, and I can tell you about that in a minute. But that's tough when it's time to get my shots. At the end of the 2 weeks, I'm really in need of it. So like right now is Tuesday, and I get my shot this Thursday, so I'll have gone 2 weeks. And the things were pretty good until, you know, the needles don't take away the pain, they lessen it. And, you know, to a point where I'm able to handle the pain with no problem. And so, yeah, I've been like that until last night. I was in so much pain. I couldn't sleep. I kept rolling around and waking up and rolling again. And it hurt to move, to roll, but it just hurt so much to be in the position that, yeah, I didn't have a good night. I should have gotten up and taken one of my pain, one dose of my pain medication, but just the thought of like sitting up was too much for me. So yeah, other than that, it's been good, and I only have a couple more days before I have to have my shot. My anxiety, on the other hand, has been pretty bad. I wake up with it a lot. I did this morning. And so yeah, I have to take some lorazepam and wait for that to take effect, and it all depends on how worked up I am. But it's a really nasty feeling to wake up from the sleep, you know, from being totally asleep to being in a panic about something. Or usually you have absolutely no reason why you're so anxious and, you know, nearing panic. Usually there's absolutely no reason at all. And that's one thing that if you don't have those kind of issues, that you can't really understand. You know, that's why some people will tell a person who's having anxiety to just relax, you know. Not possible. Or just, you know, don't worry. Well, I'm not worrying about anything, so how can I stop worrying? So, enough about that. Let's move on to the channel. So, one thing that I decided I was going to do towards the end of February was to start doing my speed colors again, because they were the one thing that I stopped doing when we were going through the whole COPA kerfuffle. They were the one thing I did which, you know, I thought could be considered childish, because, you know, it was just a picture with, you know, upbeat music. So I stopped doing those. I didn't delete any of my current ones because I wanted them to get tagged so that I would know that they, you know, that they didn't want me doing those. But they didn't. Nothing. Had absolutely no repercussions on my channel whatsoever. So I'm just going back to the way it was, and that means bringing back my speed colors. They were starting to do pretty good when I stopped doing them, and they're fun to do, and they're fun to watch. I love to watch other people's speed colors, but only if they're mystery pictures. So, you know, I like watching the French do it a lot, and I like to watch theirs. So I don't like speed colors when somebody's coloring something like this, because, you know, I mean, that's just boring. You would only watch one of those if, you know, putting up the colors so that you could color along and pause, and, you know, and I don't do that. Well, I followed a color along once. No, twice. And it was fun, but not something I do very often. So yeah, since Shelley asked me to be a part of her color along, I thought, oh well, I'll start in March, because I can do the Belba mystery mosaic pictures. So that's what I've done. I've put my first one up. If you haven't seen it, go have a look at my just go look at my channel, at the videos. It's not too far away from this one. It's, you know, it's like a week away from this one. And yeah, so you can, if you enjoyed that, you can expect a lot more of them to come. I would like to do one a week, because I have a lot of those type of mystery picture books, and I'll only be getting more, so I don't think I'll ever run out of material. Can you see my head? Because I keep thinking that my head is in the way. I wonder my hair, because my hair kept coming into, well, it didn't keep coming. I remember watching a video, maybe it was even my speed color, where my hair came into it once. I'm growing my hair long. It comes down to, oh, you can't see. I'm showing you where it comes to. Well, it comes to just just above the boobage. So, but that's just at the sides. At the back, I have it really short and shaved, like a man's hair at the back. So, yeah, it's not a common hairstyle, but I like it. I like having long hair, but I hate having hair hanging down my back. Okay, so have we got any more 10s? Yes, this belt. So there's quite a bit of this to start off with. So we're starting off with a nice bright color, and the picture is showing up against it. So one of the things that's going on in the color tube world or community or whatever you want to call it is a couple of people that I watch have stopped doing their live streams and gone back to doing things on pre-recorded videos, and I'm really happy about that because I stopped watching their videos when they went live, or certain ones of their videos that they did live, because I'm just not into that. I go into a live stream like, you know, I might have one day a week where I find myself going into a couple of live streams, but more often than not I'm silent in it because I can't watch the person and what they're doing and what they're talking about and follow the chat. So it bothers me to have both things going on at the same time. But both of those people said that they knew of some people who had also made that decision. So, you know, that brings the numbers up on how many people are doing it. So I don't know. Do you know somebody who, you don't have to mention names, do you know somebody who has changed their live streams to a pre-recorded video? Okay, so now we're going to do number 9 because it goes on either side of this red one. So, oh yeah, I like to mark off the one that I've done. So I'm looking for 9, and 9 is pink. Okay, so this is pink right here. Number 9 is pink. So back to channel news. The month of March, which we're currently in, is my 1-year anniversary of color tubing. Now, I've been YouTubing for a few years more than that, but I never found my thing, shall we say, like on YouTube. Whatever I did it just, you know, wasn't my thing. I had a hard time keeping up with it and blah, blah, blah. And then I got back into coloring, and, well, my channel always reflects myself and my hobbies and what I'm into, type of thing. So I decided to color tube, and the color tube community was so friendly and so welcoming, like much more so than any other community I was in. And I had come from the mixed media collage, junk journal, that kind of community, and the book community is like, no haters please, this is just my opinion. But I mean, I found the color tube community to be like way more inviting and welcoming than the previous one I was in. And so that just encouraged me to make more videos and, you know, come up with new things to do and everything. And then once upon a time I got asked to the co-host in a color along. Oh, that was the color by number color along, because I'm huge on color by numbers, and people started to recognize that, and I participated in that color along, and that was with Lisa as one of the members, and the other one was Zoe Archer, who was a wonderful channel, and she's since left YouTube, and her words were that she wasn't going to come back, so don't know, always hoping. And from that point on, I, you know, became a channel. People were watching me. My numbers quickly improved. It didn't take too long to get up to 1,000. You know, it was a bit of time. You know, maybe, I don't know. I can't say how many months it was, but it wasn't too long ago, or it doesn't feel like it was that long ago, that I reached 1,000. And man, does your channel ever change when you reach 1,000. You suddenly start getting more hits because the algorithm is showing your videos to the public at a more prominent rate. And when I look at my analytics, most people find my channel by seeing one of my videos on the advertised to them on the right hand side of other things you may like, or whatever it's called. And honestly, that's how I find new people too, is through those things. So I like that part of YouTube, or ColorTube. So I'm pretty much, I watch a few channels that aren't coloring, but I follow every single person that I find who is a color tuber, as long as they're not like 100% doing stuff that I'm not interested in. You know, I'm not interested in the silent, the speeded up videos that are that have music on in the background, and then the person is showing you, or they don't even have to be speeded up, they can just be, you know, regular speed, and the person is showing you a little piece of paper with the pencil color number that they're using, and then, you know, you're supposed to color along with them. I think there's a fire truck. No, sounded like there was a fire truck gonna pass my house, but I guess it turned the corner before it got here. So yeah, where I'm sat here, if you've seen my video where I show my setup for coloring for the bedbound, well, when I film, I get out of bed and I sit over here at this desk, and I have a great big window that looks upon the street below, and I live on one of the major streets here in the city, but it's in the, well, it's funny because I live near the old downtown, and it's like, you know, a very local residential area where tourists don't come. But this street that I live on is a major tourist street, because it like it goes from one end of the city to my end here of the city, and it's got lots of tourist attractions that will not attractions, but you know where the tourists go along the way. If you're coming to Niagara Falls, you'll go on my street. Let's just say that. And so at the end of my street is the Niagara River. I'm about 3 blocks away from that, and then you turn on to Niagara Road, and that's the road that takes you to the falls one way and takes you to the bridge to the U.S. the other way. So one or the other types of people will come down our street, so it's quite busy with traffic, and I get to, while I'm sitting here doing this stuff, I get to see interesting things happen. Police and fire trucks often come by. There's accidents, and then there's just people doing weird things as they walk by. So yeah, this is my 1-year anniversary on ColorTube, and to celebrate it, I was going to start at the beginning of June, but then this color along came along, which when I was asked to participate, I most definitely had to say yes right away. So I'm going to start at the end of this month. I'm going to do I'm going to show you my complete coloring book collection with colored pages. No whips, because I don't do whips. This is the only kind of whip I do, the one that I'm working on. The one that I am in the process of working on. Yeah, you know, it's a POW. It's not a whip, it's a POW. Presently working on. Oh no, that's PWO. So, at the end of this month, I'm going to start doing that, and I'm going to try and count. This is starting to not work. I hope not. I'm buying a new set of these at the end of the month, because I've had 2 run out, and I've had these for like 6-7 months, so, and I use them quite a bit. More so now than I did before, but these have lasted a very long time before they ran out, so. And they're like Crayola Super Tips, except that the tip, I don't know if it's seeable in this light, the tip is smaller and it's longer. I like it better than a super tip. I had to learn how to use a super tip because I'd never used one before. There's a pink thing in this bowl. So it'll be several parts, many parts, and they'll probably be about 45 minutes long each. Is how we'll probably run it. I don't think I can talk in a row for like that more than that in that manner. Oh, sometimes I don't even understand myself. Okay, so nobody has pink in their mouths. Alright, so that's it for 9. Oops, I forgot to toss it off. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee now. It's probably cold, but Okay, well, let's continue working around there. We'll do the 2 now. That's these big ones. And 2 is yellow. So, I was just browsing on Amazon last week, and I found out something very interesting. Julia Rivers has rebranded itself. Now, you all must know who Julia Rivers is. It's the company, and it's like Jake Summer. It's not a woman. It's a company that produced coloring books, and they're very nice coloring books. I have a lot of them, and I want pretty much all of them. There's not very many there's a few, but there's not very many that I'm not interested in. So anyways, they published their last book in December of 2018. And I've been surprised that I don't hear people wondering where they are, what happened to them. Maybe it was, maybe that information was discussed before I joined ColorTube. But, what did I say? Oh yeah, 2018. So anyways, during 2019, I always search for Julia Rivers books. And, there was never any new ones by them. So at the end of this year, pretty much, they haven't uploaded for a whole entire year. So, you think, well, that's it then. They're not coming back. But, as I said, they've rebranded themselves because I don't know how I came across it, but I found that, I think it was just I did a Julia Rivers search, and Julia Rivers searches are really quirky. Sometimes they'll bring up all the books published by Julia Rivers, but other times they'll bring up anything that has Julia or Rivers in it as well. So I don't know what's up with that. So anyways, I did a search for Julia Rivers, and then I put it in order of newest to latest. And I saw that in December of 2019, so just at the end of this year here, they had uploaded a whole bunch of children's books. And I'm like, whoa, does this mean that they're back in business? But their name was Julia Rivers and Julia Journals. So I clicked on that name, and it showed the children's books. And then in January of this year, they uploaded a whole bunch of journals. They were all the same, except they had different covers. And their covers were illustrated. They were nice, fancy, cute, whatever you want to say. They had all sorts of different kinds of covers on them. So, somebody must be working to draw those images. But inside, they were just journals that you write in. So, I don't know how they differ. I forgot. Oh, I forgot 2 9s. So, when I forget one, I like to go back and do it, because I don't like to have, at the end, to have to open and close 6 markers in a row while I get the 1 or 2 of each color that I missed. So, who knows what's up with them, but I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on them, and I think I'm actually going to contact them and ask them. I have a feeling I wouldn't get any response, though. still, I'll try. And then I can ask. I always like to get things from the horse's mouth, not, you know, somebody said and somebody said. I heard so-and-so say. Yeah, I don't like to follow those. So, I don't know what else to talk about. How long have we been? Oh, we've been 45 minutes here. Okay. I'm gonna, since I'm running out of things to say at this point, I'm going to close this before we get to the hour mark, because my camera automatically starts a new file every hour, and I don't want to have a second file that I have to tag on that's, you know, 3 minutes long. I like it to be a good 15 minutes, or it's not really worth the hassle. So I'm gonna hopefully finish up the 2s, and then we'll go. The only other thing I have to say about what's going on with me is that I've started reading again. I started in was it February? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was February. And out of the blue, I got a book from penguin.ca, and like, I used to be a reviewer for them. I used to get books for them, from them, but they would send me a list, and I would pick from that, or I would search through their catalogs and ask for something. But they haven't sent me anything for, you know, a few years, because I haven't been book blogging, and I just stopped asking for stuff from them. And, you know, I figured they could see my book blog, they could see that I wasn't book blogging anymore. And so anyways, they sent me this book. It was by somebody I'd never heard of. It didn't exactly sound that exciting, but it was a short book, and it was told in one of my favorite devices. And that is when it tells it from the point where well, there are no chapters, there are sections, and they're named after a person. And each chapter, we'll call them chapter, or each section, is told from the point of view of a different character. So, you know, they may tell the point of view from person A, and then person B, then back to person A, then person C and D, then back to B. You know, it's all like that. Some people can't stand that kind of narrative, but I love it. And so since the book was really short, like, I don't know, 124 pages or something like that, I read it, and I can't tell you what it was about, because I forget totally. I think I remembered for a couple of hours, but, you know, basically it was literature. It wasn't any genre. It was just literature. And I like reading literature, but it's just, you know, always makes itself sound a little hoity-toity when it's like that. So, you know, it was a story about no one doing nothing. So I had no idea about there was nothing going on. Nothing happened. You know, there was these people, and I don't remember any character, and they just kind of did nothing. But I read it, and I read it really fast. So it had enough going on in it that it held my attention, because prior to that, I had been trying to read. We're going to have to go on to the 50 because I'm talking about this. Or, no, I've got 10 minutes. I've got 10 minutes left. Okay, so I had been trying to read any kind of book. I would pick up my I was like, my favorite types of book are mystery thrillers, and the, you know, the gory, bloody ones. Those are the ones I like. And I picked up a couple of those from my favorite authors, and I read a page and just like threw it away. Well, I didn't throw it away, but you know, just tossed it to the side. I picked up a manga book that I wanted to read. It was Junjo Ito. He, just in case you know anything about manga. I always say manga when I'm supposed to say manga. I don't know why. So yeah, if you know anything about him, he's my favorite illustrator, manga illustrator. Man, it would be cool if he did a coloring book. Whew. So yeah, lovers of Alan Roberts' Beauty of Horror would, yeah, find something really extreme in his books. I couldn't get into that. And then I even went and picked up a beloved Stephen King book. And I couldn't read that. It was just nothing. But as soon as I read that one book, I said, well, let me. And I can't remember the books that I've read because I haven't written them down. But I was like, well, let's go back to my favorite author, so-and-so. And of course it was a mystery thriller one. And I read it like nothing. And then I did another one. And then I did another one. And so I think since February I have read about 7 books. And the one I'm on now is by an author that I'm reading, Laura Littman. I like her standalones. I've read about not quite 10 of her Tess Morgan books, but they're too boring and tame for me. I don't like that kind of story. Private Eyes, I don't like them. I like stories that a police department is investigating, you know. And I particularly like foreign, not British, not Canadian American, but I like, you know, British, and I love the Scandi crime. So yeah, that's who I'm going to check out next when I'm finished this book. I think it's What the Dead Know, or What the Dead Don't Know, or something like that, by Laura Littman. But at some point I might finish the rest of her standalones, but the next author that I'm going to get back into is try Joe Nesbo. I kind of stopped like I was reading him in order, and then I got to the point where I was reading him as he released a book. And when I stopped, he had released Macbeth, that was part of some series that authors were contributing to. And yeah, so I'll go back to that Macbeth and see if I can read it. If not, I'll just go see what his next mystery book is and try and read that, because he's Scandi crime, and I love him. So, let's see, I think this is my last 2, so we'll finish the 2s here, and then I will wrap up. But if you want to see this picture finished, then check out my Instagram. I'm kind of behind on there of uploading pictures, so give it up to a week and then this will appear. It might be before that, but I think that is it for the number 2s. I do not see anything else. Okay, so that's it. Oh, Nicki knowledge. We can do this in 6 minutes. Okay, so let's take a look at Nicki knowledge. It has to do with markers or pens that have, whoops, rolled away on me, that have caps. Okay, look at this. Isn't that wonderful how you can put the cap on the other end? I can take it off there and put it on there, and I can write with it. And then there are these dumb pens or markers. You take it off and it will not go on there at all. So there is a name for this when the cap fits on the other end. And the name for that is called posting. So I am posting this marker, or this poker, this marker posts. So now, if you ever want to talk about how your marker won't fit on the end, you can say, this marker does not post, or this pen does not post. So there you go. Use the words. These are the words that are used in the pen trade and stationery pen trade, and for, you know, extreme collectors and stuff. They're the ones who will use this word regularly, but why not use the correct word? So next time you come here, you can post your pen. And that's your Nicki knowledge for today. So, in the meantime, until next time, bye-bye.